Even the best creators in the world know that it doesn't matter how good your content is if nobody can find it, which is why today I'm going to show you exactly how to optimize your content so you can rank higher on search engines and get more views, clicks, and traffic. I'll show you how the algorithm works, how to do keyword research, the right way to structure your content, and a bonus tip at the end you're definitely going to want to stick around for. Now, admittedly, SEO is one of the more technical and complicated areas of digital marketing. But as crazy as this is going to sound, you don't need to be an SEO expert to create SEO optimized content as a creator. You just need to know a few simple tricks and tips and hacks that can help your content get discovered in the search engine rankings. And it all starts by first understanding the single most important and overlooked element to your success as a creator, and that is prioritizing your audience over the algorithm. SEO was one of the first marketing strategies I learned about when I was first getting started in marketing, and I used SEO and the strategies that I'm going to be sharing here in this video to build my first successful agency. But a lot has changed since then. For example, back in the day, it was all about those keywords, and if you wanted to have your content rank for a term like, say marketing, well, all you had to do was write the spammiest content ever and stuff it with the keyword marketing in as many places as you possibly could. For example, welcome to my marketing website where we talk about marketing strategy and marketing consulting and marketing coaching, marketing agency, marketing services, marketing for creators, marketing. Fortunately, things have changed and Google's gotten a whole lot smarter since then. And this spammy keyword stuffing approach just doesn't work anymore, thankfully. The big reason for that is that it provides an absolutely terrible user experience. So even if your content did happen to rank, your visitors were very likely to just hit the back button and bounce, never to be seen again. So let me show you the right way to do it, starting with the most important element of all, keyword research. Every successful SEO content strategy starts with just a little bit of good old-fashioned keyword research. This is because one of the best ways to know what your audience is interested in before you go about creating content is to see what they're actually searching for. This is why the first step is making sure that the words you're using in your content are the ones that your audience knows and uses and ideally searches for. For example, if I wanted to make a video on how to make more sales from your website, I could title the video exactly that, how to make more sales from your website. Or I could go with a different angle for the title and use more technical terms like CRO, which means conversion rate optimization and appeals to a lot more advanced audience. Same topic, but two different titles, each appealing to two different audiences. A broader audience interested in making more sales on their website, and a more advanced, niched, and specific audience who likes to dig a little bit deeper. And this is why knowing what words your audience uses is just so important. In fact, it could be argued that keywords are more important to your audience than to the algorithms. After all, the algorithms are pretty smart and sophisticated. They use all kinds of fancy math stuff to figure out what your content is about, including a little-known something called LSI, which is just a fancy term for synonyms, or words that are kind of the same. That's why some pieces of content will rank with very few keywords in them, because they're providing context by talking about enough other relevant and valuable things to show the search engines and their audience that this content is worth showing to more people. People, on the other hand, your audience, well, they need to see it clearly in front of them so they can make an almost instantaneous decision of whether this piece of content is right for them or not. Once you've got your list of keywords, the next thing you need to do is take a look at the search volume for your words of choice and make sure that there is enough interest in the keyword to make your content creation efforts worthwhile. Two useful tools for this are Google's free keyword planner and Google Trends. Typically, the more niched or specific a keyword and phrase are, the less competition there is, but the less people searching for it too, so it's a balancing act. Of course, knowing what keywords to use and knowing where to put them for maximum impact are two completely different things. So let me walk you through a solid SEO content structure now, and the four main places you need to include your keywords. Whenever you're creating content, there are a few places that you definitely want to include your keywords. This is true whether you're making a blog post on your website, a video for YouTube, a podcast episode, even social media posts often have the ability to add these in certain areas depending on the platform and channel. The first place that you want to include your keyword is obviously the title. Like I said before, this is important, not just for the search engines, but also for your audience who's trying to decide on whether they should click your content or not. There's a famous saying by advertising legend David Ogilvy that says, 5 times as many people read the headline as read the body copy. When you have written your headline, you have spent 80 cents out of your dollar. Or to paraphrase, your headline is responsible for 80% of the success of your content. The next place to include your keywords are in the headings and subheadings of your content. In a blog, these would be things like H1, H2, and H3 tags to note the headings and subheadings. On a video, they could be chapters, and on a social media post, they could just be added as breaks between longer lines of text. Next is an obvious one, but this is just to make sure that you're including your keywords throughout the main body of your content. There's no real secret here. Just keep your content focused on the title and topic of what you're talking about, and both your main keywords and their synonyms should occur naturally throughout. The fourth place you want to include your keyword, if at all possible, is in the URL of your content. Now, clearly this is easiest on something like a blog post on your website, where you can edit the URL address to be whatever you want. But there are sometimes other ways to add it, depending on what platform you're posting on. Now that we've got that covered, I want to share with you some of my secret insider creator tips when it comes to creating SEO optimized content. Specifically, the one kind of content that almost universally performs better than any others. And that kind of content is long-form content. Although word count is technically not a ranking factor that the search engines claim, there are significant benefits to focusing on writing long-form content. Benefits include generating more backlink opportunities, more keywords and synonyms being used throughout the content. And most importantly of all, longer-form content, on average, tends to provide more value to people. And this means more traffic, more links, and higher rankings. So, how long should your content be? Well, it usually depends on competition and the number of other pages and sites also trying to rank for your keywords, but a good place to start is usually somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 words. All that said, your focus always should remain on the quality of a piece of content rather than just the word count. Which, unsurprisingly, all comes back to prioritizing the user experience and putting your audience first. And the best way to put your audience first is by creating better, more effective, and more engaging content and giving your audience exactly what they want. So to help you figure that out, I've linked up a video right here on how to do market research as a creator the right way. So make sure to check that out now, and I'll see you in that video in just a second.